Welcome to Glitch Please, the show where we talk about video games every week, and there is a lot to talk about this week. I'm Ashley.
I'm Jad.
I'm Brian.
And so I've been gone at RTX, and I'm very jet lagged, so I apologize if I'm a little wonky today. That will probably happen. My brain will just go.
How long's that flight?
The flight's actually not bad. There's a direct now from Austin to London. It's like 9 or 10 hours.
Oh, that's not that bad.
Yeah, that's not that bad. It's more the time difference that'll get you.
Right, 6 hours.
Yeah, like I realized last night, or yesterday afternoon, I landed at like 5 p.m. and I realized I'd been up since 11 p.m. the previous day in this time zone, just with all the travel.
Right.
And so it like just sort of adds up, and you go.
Yeah, you have to like power through and like not sleep until evening time here, just so you can.
And it's really difficult. But hopefully my brain will work enough to talk about video games, because there was a lot going on. Red Dead Online got announced, and we had Nintendo Switch Online has come out, and there's there's a sudden flurry of additional details with all of that. Plus, they had their direct that we missed by a day when we did Glitch Please last week early, because they announced Animal Crossing. Oh my God! And then.
But first, they really set off the Animal Crossing fans.
They did. They exactly had to tease that. And then also, Rockstar announced Red Dead Online, which is the worst kept secret of all time.
Right.
But well, maybe not the worst, but it's pretty poorly kept. So lots to talk about this week. But before we get into all that fun stuff, what have you been playing?
I've been playing weirdly, still on Dragon Quest, still on Spider-Man. I've been kind of taking my time with Spider-Man.
Spider-Man now the best, like the fastest selling
exclusive
for Sony.
It sold
ever.
It sold 3.3 million copies in its first 3 days, beating out God of War, which sold 3.1.
And remember, like God of War was selling bonkers as well.
I can't believe the year Sony is having with its exclusives. It's just killing it. And yeah, Spider-Man, it's super fun. I've just been like collecting things, and I'm obsessed with the suits and getting everything. So it's just one of those fun, I just like swinging around in the overworld. Like, I remember when I first played GTA 3 back in the day, and I just would drive around and enjoy it. And so I really like that. Hollow Knight, I picked up for the Switch. I've never played that before. It is great. That is I know I'm late to the Hollow Knight party, but like.
That's on my list. Everyone says it's really good.
Everyone, like the term Metroidvania, I think gets overused, but that is a real Metroidvania. It's difficult. It's, it follows, I think, that template really well, but it also puts its own spin on it. It's got great art. The lore is really interesting. It's just, who wouldn't want to control that? You're a bug fighting other big bugs, basically.
And who doesn't want to fight bugs?
Yeah, exactly. You're like an exterminator, killing your own people. But just huge map, and it's awesome.
It's a little dark twist at the end.
Sorry, that got weird. And then Dragon Quest 11. I thought I was almost done with it, but it kind of gave me like a fake
false end.
I thought I was done, and I wasn't. I don't want to spoil it, but it is so good. It's probably my favorite game of this year, even though there's so much other good stuff, but old school dungeon crawler RPGs will always.
This is a game that was made for you.
It absolutely is. I hope they do well enough to keep porting games over here. I know it'll crush it in Japan, but it's one of those that's never really found its way over to the West that well. But they've also kind of figured out how, you can kind of set all your party members to auto attack now and just kind of self-grind, which is great. So
you don't even have to play the game.
Yeah. It's great. You can watch it play itself, kind of. Yeah. Anyway, that's what I'm playing.
Nice.
Awesome. I was playing the Blackout beta all weekend.
Okay, it seems like this Call of Duty went from no one talking, no one caring. It was going to be, maybe not like an Infinite Warfare hated game that people were going to actively boycott, but
Ghosts.
No one really cared.
And then everyone's talking.
Then the Battle Royale.
People are losing their mind.
Yeah.
Man, I was, I wanted to go check it out, and I've played PUBG. Fortnite's really not for me. I just don't like the building mechanic of it.
Me either.
But I was like really impressed. They delivered exactly what they said they would in that trailer, which was like, hey, it's nothing new. It's Battle Royale, right? But we're gonna do it the way that only like COD can, and it absolutely is that. Like, it feels like a COD game. Like, And the thing for me is when I started playing, I was like, okay, cool. Like, it's fun. There's a lot, like, I really like the incorporation of the perks that you can pick up. I like the sensor dart and some of the extra items like the grappling hook and things like that. There's these cool elements that make it stand out from PUBG, right? But then there's the thing that really got me was, so I was playing it and I was enjoying it. Like, everything felt really smooth, everything was good. And then after the Blackout beta ended, I was like, like, I want to play more. So I was like, oh, I'll get back into PUBG. So like I reinstalled PUBG and I started playing, and that's when I was like, wow, Blackout is really polished. Like, it didn't really click for me until literally the next
You had to go
day.
back and
I went right into PUBG. And like, just the differences are like, I mean, just the fluidity of movement is so much smoother. The vaulting mechanics are like really, really good. And man, you got hops. Like, you look at like this like shipping container that you in Blackout, and you'd be like, surely I can't, and then you jump and you're like, oh nope, there I go. Like, plus with like the sliding mechanic, there's a lot of cool things that just kind of add this extra level of polish to the game. That said, there's definitely some things that could use some work. Right now, there's like this weird disparity between like armor. Like, you get level 1, level 2, level 3 armors, right? And like, I'm still trying to figure out like what bullet to put against what type of armor. And like, there are times where like I had this guy's running down this hill. I have a sniper and like tagged him.
Which usually sniper is pretty good at penetrating things.
Right. That's the whole point.
Exactly. And this guy's running down, so I tagged him again. I'm like, okay, God, he's still going. And I hit him a third time, he's still alive. And every time it's like, armor. And I'm like, what is this? Like, he's, okay, clearly he has level 3 armor, but what does that mean to me? Like, you know.
Is it like a rock, paper, scissors type thing? Like, some bullets will work against some types of armor?
Well, they'll all work. It's just that some
work better.
Right. Some will do more damage, like, and it's harder for lower caliber bullets to penetrate, you know, like higher armor. But yeah, the one thing I will say is like, it looks like the team like really, really cares, and like they were already tweaking the beta the whole time. Like, first feedback was like, oh my God, looting is incredibly slow. So like, we doubled it, you know. Yeah. I really think they could increase the loot pickup radius though right now, and the game would really benefit from like what PUBG has, which is where, you know, you can hold tab and see your proximity looting. Like,
oh yeah,
things like that would be really important to help the user experience. The problem is they're trying to juggle. You can absolutely tell, like, I'm playing on PC, but they build it for console UI, you know, like,
oh yeah,
because they have to, you know, but like, I really would like them to try and incorporate some more stuff for the PC players.
Is it already like more polished than PUBG? It feels like that's what I've heard, or just that people are like amazed at how well it plays.
Oh,
just right off. It definitely sounds like there's some balancing issues, but those seem like more easily fixed than like fluidity.
I mean, they already started doing that, not even gun balance so much, but they were like, yeah, we're increasing it from 80 players to 88 because we feel like that might be better.
Yeah, they were immediately like day to day, like saying, okay, we fixed this, we added this, you know.
It is kind of cool too. I like to picture it's just there's some sliders back in the servers and they're like, and that just changes the game. I'm sure it's exactly that easy.
But having like the slide mechanic is really fun, right? There's a lot of elements of Call of Duty, and if you're a fan of Call of Duty, like getting to the fact that they built the world from all these different pieces of Call of Duty, so like, I just have this moment where I come into a building like, man, this looks really, oh, it's this. Like, I know what that is. I remember playing. Yeah.
Drop.
And the best part is they're like, we got to reuse assets.
I know, right?
And you're like, oh, I love this. This nod.
That's cool. I will tell you, the bane of my existence, and Sam and I were bitching about this like every day. Ladders. Like, going up them, it's great. Like, you can run, you can jump, turn, you'll grab it right away and start going.
Yeah.
But God help you if you want to go down a ladder. There's no key to like attach you to the ladder, right? And it seems to only activate when you're holding forward. So, like, I mean, I fall off shit all the time. Like, I go to this ladder, and there were times I'm like, okay, I'm gonna figure this out. And I backed up to the ledge, and I'm looking down at it, and I'm slowly inching my way, and then I fall, and I'm just like, damn it. You know, it's like,
I love that you can like standing jump on the top of a container, but you see a ladder, and you're like, what is this sorcery?
I don't know how to do it.
I don't.
It's crazy. Like,
these are only made to go up.
Yeah. The only way I wouldn't take fall damage trying to use a ladder going down was if it was like 2 stories. There's just enough for me to slowly back off and hold forward to restart climbing up so then I can go down. But like, if you're a 1 story, like, no, you're backing up, and by the time you grab it, you've hit the ground.
Betas are awesome.
That, and like, there's some interesting bugs which were kind of just funny. Like, my favorite one was when I went and just dropped. So like, I'm ready. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go. Let's get into this game. Drop, boom, instant dead, and my corpse just like flies all the way down to the ground.
Oops.
Yeah, it just killed me. And then some people were having some issues of like it happened to us probably like 3 or 4 times where we just got in a vehicle and then DC'd. So there's a couple things that they're working on, but overall, like I really, really enjoyed it. And I'm like, it's one of those things, I love and hate betas because like I start getting into a game and then it's been taken away from me.
See you in 3 months.
But it is also nice when a beta acts like a beta, not like a limited time demo where it's like the week before it releases, ta-da! And it's like you can't change a whole lot in 1 week, so it's nice to see. Well, although I guess they kind of did when they were like, hey, we're changing all the players.
Yeah.
We just put this slider up. So they can make some changes, but for the most part, it seems like companies are using betas to offer demos, but for a limited time.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yep.
And also you have to pre-order to get access to them, which really makes them not demos.
Yeah, true. And the inclusion of the zombies is really cool.
Yes.
They
so
guard
that's like,
stuff,
you got
right?
I like to think of them as your creeps.
Yeah, there you go, pretty much. If you want to MOBA this thing up. So there's like specific places where zombies will spawn more often. So like there's this one diner, right? And I think the diner's actually from one of the zombies modes, so that makes sense, right? But it's cool. It's like you'll go in just every now and then and the zombie will just be like shambling at you, you know? And you're like, and then it just gives you something to do when you're not like, you know, actively fighting other players. And they can drop like really cool stuff. So like, you know, you can get some really good items. Like you can get the ray gun from zombies only in there.
You get sniper-proof armor.
Yeah. And that part's really cool. And then there's like a little exploding monkey thing, right? Which
I saw the monkey bomb.
Right?
Yeah.
Which can blow up, but I think it also attracts zombies to people. So if like you're gonna like go storm a place, you can throw it and make them deal with some zombies as you then.
It's like a little Walking Dead type thing.
Yeah,
zombies are always kind of in the background.
Whittle them down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but
sounds awesome.
Oh, and the vehicles. There's aerial vehicles, which helicopter's interesting. It depends on your pilot. Like, there are times it's like, okay, helicopter is cool. We got where we needed to go. And other times it's like, yeah, we're getting everything's great. We're all loaded up. And then it's like, oh, bam! Somebody just nails a tower, and then we.
It's like getting a bad Uber driver.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I had a ton of fun with it, and I'm really looking forward to it coming out.
I've been playing, because I've been traveling, I've been playing primarily Switch.
Yep.
Just because it's so easy to take on the go. And also, this is the first time that we've taken Bernie's youngest to Europe. So this was like his first time, and he was very much on the Switch train as well. Like I would just like to creep on what he was playing, like, oh, Dead Cells, what do you think?
Yeah.
Oh, that Mario Odyssey, nice. It's just so easy to like have a kid on a plane and be like, here's the Switch, and then 10 hours later he's like, oh, it's over already?
It's great. It's the best babysitter ever invented.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, it was really nice, and also it was cool to when you look around, and you see other people on your plane with the Switch, and you're like, my people, and then you just sort of you're like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and then just like creep and see like what they're playing, and be like, oh, that, huh?
That's when you kind of just want to yell out, like, who wants to throw down some Mario Kart? Like,
Totally. Let's get some local multiplayer going.
Exactly.
It's cool to know that you can be hurtling through the sky at 800 miles an hour, 38,000 feet in the air, and be like, who wants to play Mario Kart? Yeah. It's nice. It's cool.
That happened to me on the way to RTX a couple of years ago. I brought my Vita, and a flight attendant stopped me. He goes, excuse me, is that Persona you're playing? And it was. I was playing Persona 4 Golden.
Nice.
Yeah. And he was like, I love that game.
We had a weird thing. We were going through one airport, and one of the TSA agents was like, oh, yeah, Lindsay just came through. And we were like,
oh.
And then we're talking to Lindsay, and she's like, yeah, the TSA guy came over to me, and I was like in panic at first, and he was like, oh no, just love your work. And it's like, that's great, but a TSA agent coming over to you to talk at any point is just immediately terrifying. Like, oh God.
Also, we're going to need you to step into this.
Where you live.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was really fun. RTX London was great. It was really cool, to meet everyone. Everyone was really, really nice. We did a Glitch Please panel. We had Tim Geddes and Greg Miller on, so we all talked about. It was basically we talked about Animal Crossing and we talked about Spider-Man for an hour. Turns out that John is anti-Animal Crossing, and he's never played it. He doesn't get the hype, so that was a whole thing. But don't worry, we'll talk a bunch more about that because I have so many thoughts.
People were.
But are you like Animal Crossing's not even a game?
No, it's totally a game.
Well,
I don't know. It's never interested me.
That's fine.
Personally.
That's fine. I mean, there are so many different types of players who play for different types of things. And then, I'm probably not going to play a whole lot of Blackout because I'm like, that's cool. This is a great experience, but I'm going to go farm, or I'm going to go say hi to my animals and see if I can get them to say obscene things, whatever. There's just so many different types of games that there are out there, and so many different experiences, and everyone plays for different reasons.
My wife has played.
Guess what? That's okay.
Yeah. My wife has played Harvest Moon, like every single Harvest Moon, to like, she's done everything the game has to offer. Like, it's crazy.
Has she tried Graveyard Keeper?
No.
Stardew?
I tried to get her. I bought her Stardew, and I'm like, you're really gonna like it.
Yeah.
And then she was like, this one was just on PC, and she's like, she just started. And she's like, I don't know. It's easier when it's on like a handheld console, so I'm gonna try and do it again now that it's on Switch.
Yeah.
I know she'll like it. I know it's really good. She's like, Harvest Moon. So.
Well, Eric Barone, who made it, was a massive Harvest Moon.
I know.
And I think he made it to like fix the problems that he saw in Heart. Like, that's just,
and I told her this.
I'm on your side on this. Just kidding.
I know she'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'll just put it on the Switch, but then I won't get my Switch. This is what happens. Like the last time I was like, oh, Harvest Moon, it's on Vita now. I haven't seen my Vita since. I don't know where it is.
It is cool how there's just different types. Like, there's people who only play sports games, people who only play sim games or RPGs or first person. It's like so segmented in a way, but that's awesome. Like, there's just, because I remember when I was a kid, there was sort of, it's like, well, it's a video game, play it. You know, there's like one or two types, and now there's like dozens of it. It's great.
Dozens of us.
Dozens of types.
Yeah, and I just have a good time seeing the sheer range of games that are available for all different tastes. It's a nice time. I know that the industry is like going through troubling times as well with like loot boxes and microtransactions and games as a service, and single player games aren't profitable enough unless apparently PlayStation. Right. And so there's all of like these things going on, or like, games are not, or they're coming out and they're broken and then they have to be patched and we're paying for broken games. And so there are, it's not like the industry is perfect, but like it's in a really good place as far as sheer variety of games. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's, the sort of AA, single A games are sort of getting marginalized a bit, but the indie scene is just going bonkers. Yep. There are so many indie games and so many indie developers who are able to get their passion projects in front of gamers. It's just nice. And like Spider-Man shows, there's still that a big AAA game can still be awesome and still do something that like an indie can't do. Mm-hmm. Like that's an awesome looking, fun to play game. The industry has some issues definitely with microtransactions and DLC and what you said, but like, it's been a good couple of years lately. I mean, there's just been a ton of good stuff. I have a backlog that's crazy. And I've been stoked because fighting games are back. Like, there was a while with Dragon Ball Fighters. Nobody's making fighting games. And then Street Fighter 4 happened and it was like, oh, fighting games can be profitable again. And then we got like sequels to everything, Mortal Kombat, Guilty Gear ramped up when we did BlazBlue, and then Dragon Ball Fighters. We got new MVC, like we got all this stuff. And Skullgirls. Now you're getting that Smash. Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to. That's going to be so much fun. Yeah, I can't wait to play with like kids on that. Oh, that'll be fun. Beat the hell out of them. You know what's crazy to me is how soon Mario Party is coming out. Oh. I feel like that's a game that Nintendo hasn't talked about a whole bunch. Probably. Did I say this last week? Maybe I said this on a panel. This is definitely not an original thought that I've had. But that Nintendo may be waiting on that game in particular to market until it's out, because of how they approach the life cycles of their games. They are, for really mainstream focused games, they're much less about day one and much more about just an extended tail. Yeah. And they're like, so let's get this out really, early in the holiday cycle. So they go October, November, December. This is the most mainstream title they have next to, well, that's not true. Pokemon Let's Go is going to be pretty mainstream focused. But this is like family. Well, it might destroy your family, but it's focused on it still, like family and friends, and it's very, it's that typical Nintendo. It's their monopoly kind of. Yeah, and so I feel like it'll be one of the pillars of their holiday marketing, but they're not worrying too much about marketing it, and they're not going to worry too much about day one numbers. Once it's out, then they'll be able to market it with out now, available now, instead of being like, hey parents, it's gonna come out at this point, right. You should pay attention then. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they're also very structured as to what they talk about. Like somebody sent me, I think this was last week, some of their media materials. It wasn't like newsy per se, but it was interesting, like, okay, from October 15th to November 1st, we're gonna talk about this, and then
from all of November to the 1st of December, we're going to talk about this. So they're very regimented and like, we're going to push this. And then we're going to push this. And then, but you're right. I think Nintendo has a tendency, unless it's Animal Crossing or Metroid Prime 4, to not really talk about stuff until it's out or it's about to be out immediately.
With the exception of Metroid Prime 4, it does feel like they've shortened their announcement windows, their announcement to release windows. Like generally, once it's announced, it's going to be out within a year.
Yeah.
Metroid Prime 4 is the only recent exception of that I can think of. Even Animal Crossing, they announced in like 2019.
Right.
So I imagine it'll come out within the next
Max,
year.
that's a year and a half, even if they put it out next holiday. So it's not that long.
Yeah.
Are we moving into this Nintendo discussion?
Yeah, I was going to talk about PlayStation Classic,
that's
but
fine.
we're already talking about Nintendo, so let's talk about Nintendo, and then we're going to talk about PlayStation.
All right.
How about that?
Sounds
we on
good.
board? You
Yep.
on board? All right, let's talk about Nintendo because, oh my God. Yeah, that's right. Luigi's Mansion 3.
Yep.
Are you excited?
I never played the Luigi's Mansions games. I didn't.
My dude.
I know. I hear they're
so
good.
fun.
I just never did it.
They're so good.
At first, it looked like really kiddie, and so I didn't go for it. But then it was like, it's amazing, and I was like, I probably should have played it. And then I feel like it's been so long, and I got other games to play.
Right.
You feel like you missed the boat?
Yeah.
You excited then?
I love Dark Moon for 3DS. That mechanic is so much fun, just the sucking up ghosts, and it's so different from any other kind of Mario. Plus, the decision to make Luigi just this scaredy cat, and he's trapped in this mansion.
He's scared, but let's be clear, he's doing it anyway.
That's right.
He's still
That's
doing
right.
what he's scared, but
Yes.
he's doing what needs to be done. And is that not true bravery?
That
That is the definition of it.
That's peak bravery. Yeah. I missed the GameCube game, but I love Dark Moon, so I'm all on board with what they're doing. And there's some puzzles, and you kind of have to explore everything and sort of peek in all the nooks and crannies to open more stuff up. It will be great for the Switch. It is perfect. I don't think Luigi's Mansion has ever gotten quite enough love, so I think it'll be fun to see. And it's just fun. It's cartoony and fun. There are little ghost dogs involved. It's just
It's ghosty, which could very easily be a scary game,
yes.
but they make it very approachable and kid-friendly.
Question for you guys: what does he do with all the souls he's collecting?
Oh, he builds a new mansion.
Really? No, I'm just wondering.
What does he
he's
do?
vacuuming
I
up all
forgot.
this stuff. What does he do? Does he have like a containment unit, like Ghostbusters, or like?
Yeah, and then the EPA comes and shuts it down and then releases it all back. I don't remember what he does. Fuck.
Because I just watched him suck up the soul of a puppy, and if it's just like contained forever, that's kind of sad.
He's
But
actually
it would
the
be
bad
But
guy.
it would be with other souls.
I don't know how spacious it is in there. They could be all cramped. It could be
It's
awful.
merely like a Pokeball.
So they have their own little pocket dimension.
They're all like,
Hang out.
it's like
no,
chilling in there.
Except you just need one to hold them all because they don't,
I don't know. I just want to know what he does with them.
Doesn't he bring them back to like Professor Egad and he like studies them or something? I could be completely wrong.
he
but I
does
think that's what
something with
happens.
So he takes him over for scientific
for brutal
experiments?
He basically brings him over to the Professor Oak of the Luigi's Mansion world and like just lets him have his day with
Yeah, at the end of
ghosts.
every stage, you go back, you plug it in, you dump all your
Turns them all into candies.
souls. Yeah.
I don't know what's real and not. I'm just, all right. Sounds pretty sinister.
You know what I remember? Wii U came with, I think it came with, was a Nintendo, like a Nintendo Life? Was that what it was called? Or Nintendo Land something. It was basically a
Nintendo
disc
Land.
of like mini games. And like one of them was like the Animal Crossing and you want to try and collect as many like the fruits off the trees. And one of them was a Luigi's Mansion style one where you had the player with the gamepad who had like he would play as Luigi, I think, if I'm recalling this correctly, and would have sort of a different screen than the players playing as ghosts. The ghosts could see the entire like little map, but Luigi could only see the area in front of his flashlight.
Oh, that's cool.
So it was kind of Pac-Man-y. It was like a maze with Luigi trying to go through it and the ghosts all trying to get Luigi.
I always love when they do it.
I'd love to see a mini game like that on the Switch.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah, so here we go, where it's you can see that
Oh, that's fun.
they're trying to like get the ghosts, and then the ghosts I think are trying to like get you and turn you into a ghost.
Right.
And I don't know, it's just really fun. I remember that was one of my favorite Nintendo Land
Yeah.
games.
That looks like it could be Bomberman so easily.
You know what I miss? I miss good Bomberman.
Yeah, classic Bomberman.
Yeah.
Or Bomberman 64
Playing
is
with
one of my
The
favorite
Bomberman that came out on the Switch, I was like so excited to have to get a Bomberman,
Right.
and then it was just like not great. And that was the bummer. I remember, I think it was GameCube. Was it GameCube? No. Was it? I don't know. The last, I played some of the older Bomberman games when they did, not old, but maybe it was Xbox 360. Did they have some Xbox Live Arcade?
They had an Xbox.
Bomberman?
Yeah, they did.
That may be the one I'm thinking of. And
pretty good.
it was that one I enjoyed a bunch. I liked the campaign. It was really fun. I enjoyed the multiplayer so much. That was a really good time.
I remember the Nintendo 64
Oh,
one.
64.
That was one of I had a group of friends, and we played GoldenEye, Duke Nukem, and Bomberman obsessively with each other.
Oh yeah,
Just obsessive.
They added so many great things. Like 64 is so much fun because there's all the different bomb types, but then you can pick them up and you can throw them. You can pick them up, you can pump them up, and then throw them.
Yes.
And then you just increase this ridiculous blast radius. If you die, you're still not out of the game because you come back as a ghost and you get to jump on
Aren't
somebody's
you on the
head.
side? Oh yeah.
No, you get to jump on somebody's head, so you can basically be like, revenge from beyond the grave and screw somebody over.
Yeah.
Man, that game's so much fun. But you will swear. I don't know what it is about that game. Every time I play it, we're just constantly
It's like
screaming
angry
profanity.
fun.
Oh yeah.
Angry fun. Yeah. So yeah, I would love to see some sort of mini game like that in this Luigi's Mansion. And not the full game necessarily, but a little
party
thing.
Yeah.
Would be really cool. They also, so the big announcement for me was Animal Crossing, but first they did tease it by being like, hey, Isabel's in Smash.
Oh, that was so funny. Especially
It
if
was
you're
really well done.
you're watching people get so excited about a new Animal Crossing, right? And then they're like, oh my God, it's new Animal Crossing. Yes,
they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it.
Yeah, and then it was, I've got a letter, and that's when people are like, oh no. And it's like, we want you to be in Smash, and there's so many people that are like, son of a bitch!
The worst. Oh my God. That was all being announced as I was traveling to an airport, getting on an airplane, and I was like, what is happening?
I know, it's such a roller coaster ride because they're like, just a mix of emotions. People thought they were gonna get a new Animal Crossing. Isabel's in Smash, so they have this mixed feeling about I wanted the new Animal Crossing,
great,
but that's cool too, I guess. But damn it, and then guess what? New Animal Crossing anyway.
2019. Oh man, I'm excited. And trying to describe that game is always very, very difficult.
People were so mad on our video about it that you weren't on the video to react to it.
Sorry,
I'm sorry.
I was
she
on a
wasn't.
plane at the time, but just know that I was shrieking enough to alert the flight attendants. But it was, I was really, really excited about that. I feel like the 3DS one was good, but now that I've sort of migrated over to Switch, and Switch is my go-to for all the Nintendo stuff, whether it's handheld or normal console level stuff, I'm like, I love my Animal Crossing, but I don't want to take my 3DS with me as well for just that. I've got my Nintendo one that's going, and so, it's my own fault, I guess. I've cut myself off from that Animal Crossing experience. But I'm just so excited. Switch is such a good place for it.
It's absolute. It'll just better graphics. It'll be fun to see with an expanded console Animal Crossing what they can do with it. And what's going to be available, all the different, items. It so belongs on the Switch. And I think we all knew, in the back of my mind, they're going to make an Animal Crossing for Switch.
It was a matter of
we knew
when.
exactly, not if but when.
And with online now, what will they do?
Right. Well, remember I'm pretty sure I'm thinking of the 3DS version. You could go online and you could go to you could go to one of your friends' towns. But then there was also you could go on a train. I think it was on a train to this sort of neighborhood where a bunch of people's houses would be, and so you'd see your friends' Animal Crossing houses there, and you could go and you could tour them how they're decorated up and everything.
That's cool.
And you could see what they used if you wanted to crib their style or whatever.
Crib their style is the official term.
It's in the marketing materials. But I remember I would tour Gus and Esther's Animal Crossing houses and be like, very nice. I like what you've done with the place. But then I think there would also be just random people's, and I think you could be like, I like your house.
Yeah.
And your house would appear in things, and they could be like, I like your house, which is nice. But then you could go to your friends' towns. One of my favorite
dig their
bits
shit up.
of going to any friend's town is them being like, what fruit do you have?
Yes,
And then
yes.
making sure that you get some of their fruits and take them back and plant them so that ultimately you end up with everyone's fruits and the fruit that you hate the most is your own fruit because it doesn't sell for nearly as many bells and it's not going to do much good for your mortgage, let me tell you that.
That's my favorite part of Animal Crossing, is getting all the fruits. Yes, it's so much fun.
It's really fun describing it to people when they're like, so what is Animal Crossing? It's like, okay, so you move to a town and you take out a mortgage and you have to try and like make good with your neighbors, pull up weeds,
Collect bells.
shake some fruits, dig up fossils, whatever.
Sharks.
Eventually pay off your mortgage and then they'll be like, oh, well, we're upgrading your house. So now you have a bigger mortgage. Welcome to the American dream. And it's, so it's really weird to try to describe.
Right.
It's like, look, it's a game that's designed to be played a little bit per day. It has real world time. So you're like, oh, I want to make sure I stop by on Saturday. Is it Saturday? And, see what's KK Slider playing today.
It's
and like I want to do all this. Or there's only things that happen at night. So I want to make sure, or
or seasonal,
bugs come out
only
at
in the
night.
winter. Or this is that's its biggest strength and weakness to me, because what I like about Stardew is days only last 10 minutes. So you can play a ton and harvest. But yeah, Animal Crossing's not like that. It's like you said, it's designed to be played a few minutes a
Unless
day.
you change the clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now here's that.
Unless you're a time traveler.
That's the real
And
big
then you can
question
go fuck
here, right?
yourself.
We're going to need to figure out. I haven't actually had a game where I needed to go around changing the time on the console. How easy is that to do on the Switch? This is important to know.
I don't know, probably pretty easy. It's probably just
Go
a
to
setting.
user settings. And
Yeah. Then again, with online, maybe it'll force check every time you connect to Wi-Fi. So you might just have to turn off any, disconnect from any Wi-Fi and then I'm sure you can find a
I
way.
can totally see Tom Nook coming out being like, I see what you did. I see what
Remember,
you did.
it was Rossetti.
That's
the
right,
GameCube version.
that's
He would
right.
come out and he would yell at you for like
Yes.
5 minutes if you turned off the game without specifically like doing like a save and quit, because he's like, how dare you?
That's awesome.
And now,
You have violated the sanctity of Animal Crossing.
although like by the GameCube version, Rossetti's just given up on you. He's just so disappointed.
There you go.
He's like, look, you're the worst.
So you should talk with Nick about Animal Crossing. Nick
Yeah?
is a huge Animal Crossing fan.
so excited.
And also, I'll send you a video after this because we recorded it. It was one of those heartbreaking things. He was playing Animal Crossing on 3DS religiously. Like, he had his whole thing pimped out, was loving it. And then I think he tried to do a transfer
no.
and it
Oh no!
and it corrupted.
Oh no!
And so he spent like the whole time on the phone with Nintendo support trying to get it fixed. And the best part was they eventually told him he was screwed. And he lost his entire town. And the best part
all that
was one of the other
work.
guys in the office connected online and was visiting his town. He's like, I can visit your town.
Oh my God!
no!
Oh, that hurts.
It's like a dead body or something.
That's a really terrifying thing about like just in general that Nintendo has been behind on the like save backup thing. So with Nintendo Switch Online coming out, one of the last details they chucked out there before the service kicked off, I think it was before it kicked off, or maybe it was the day of,
This is where we talked a little
about
bit
like how
last
their
week.
cloud save backups are working. But in addition to that is you can now have your accounts on additional consoles, which is cool. Oh, that's right. We did talk about it last week. So it wasn't one of the last things before it came out. It's just like how the save backups will work and like which games it doesn't work on. But I'm grateful that is going to be a thing in some way.
For Animal
So that
Crossing.
things like that
For
won't happen.
Animal Crossing.
I remember
Yeah.
one of the most heartbreaking experiences that I had with my 3DS was, and this is a secret between all of us because I specifically didn't tell Bernie this. So I had a 3DS, and I was like a really, really big into
You and Tom
Street
Nook got
Pass.
really drunk one night.
And like when I was at IGN, like everyone was doing Street Pass, and we had like a Street Pass crush where we would just put all of the 3DSs, and then they would all just like orgy it up, and then you would get like all the puzzle pieces,
Yeah.
and then you could take your friends through the quests and everything. So I got like hella puzzle pieces. It was like I was totally filled out. I was like
Pimped out.
100%ed.
Yep.
Had like all the cute little hats that you can get.
Right.
And Brain spilled coffee on my 3DS. And it stopped turning on. And I was like,
no.
it's fine. Well, I'll talk to Nintendo, sent it in. And they fixed the 3DS and they sent it back. but they had to wipe it.
You never told him?
No, because he was so distraught. He felt so terrible.
As well
he might
he
have
should.
killed my street pass stuff that I told
no.
him when I got it back. He's like, "Is your street pass stuff okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, babe, it's fine."
All right, either that was
Tears are like streaming down. As you're,
So yeah, I had to start over. That did kind of kill my street passing, but I would still love street pass on Switch.
either that was the sweetest move ever, or you are holding the ultimate trump card. Like, you guys get into an argument. No, we're not going there for dinner. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah? Well, you murdered my 3DS and I never told you. You know, like, what? You killed them all with your coffee. Like, that'd be great. I'm just saying, you got that in your pocket as long as nobody tweets Bernie.
Yeah. So this is
Don't do that.
just between us.
Look,
Don't blow it. Be cool.
This is a circle of trust. Okay.
We're in here now.
No,
We're
but
in
that
the
was
circle of trust.
yeah, that was one of those things where you're like, what? Do I start over, or like is this where
There's
I
no point.
admit defeat
Yeah.
and like just never touch it again? What was Nick's solution with Animal Crossing?
A lot of sadness, but I think he then started over.
that's
he took a break, I think, for a little bit.
It's a
but
true player.
I don't think he ever committed as hard.
Like mourn, and then it's like finally a new relationship.
Did you ever do the thing where, and I've done this, I think with New Leaf, where you haven't played it in like a year or something, and then you come back to your town has turned into a post-apocalyptic hellscape.
Oh, really?
There's weeds, it's just like gone to shit. They've murdered Tom Nook. Like, it's just like, it really goes to hell. It's great.
I have not.
You haven't? You never logged back? Go
Or
log
do you
back
maintain
into.
it? Are you still maintaining
log
it?
back into New Leaf.
It's in my
It's going to be Lord of the
bedside
Flies.
table
in there.
drawer and has been for ages. Like
You should record it.
Fire up New Leaf.
I loved it so much. Did you you remember the Animal Crossing Edition 3DS XL?
Yeah.
That's the one that I ended up upgrading to,
Oh, nice.
and that came out. But then I think I switched over to a new 3DS when it came out. Like I got the red one,
Mm-hmm.
and so the Animal Crossing one has been in the drawer. I think I transferred everything over to the red one, so it should be all good. But now I kind of want to go.
Yeah.
I want to
Fire it
go
up.
check it. I wonder if I can check it on the Animal Crossing one, because at this point it'd be
Shoot.
like several years.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
that's great.
It's Lord of the Flies in there now.
And it could just respawn the addiction. Like, you might just be like, oh my God, it's horrible, I have to fix it. And then,
Oh
like,
Yeah,
no!
yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
that is a very real concern.
It does do a good job of sort of acting like giving you the illusion of things are going on even if you're not playing.
Yeah.
That they're sort of living inside there.
The
even without
villagers
you.
are still going on.
Yeah,
So
there's this persistent world.
have you been playing Pocket Camp at all?
No, never have.
So Pocket Camp is the mobile version, and that was for me. That was the canary in the coal mine of like, they've got to be working on Animal Crossing, somehow, because they've always done mobile game and then new game, and everyone's like, "You're crazy." That team is currently working on Splatoon 2 still, and I was like, "But mobile game," and this was a delay, but I'm still gonna call myself right.
Yeah.
It's not. If it was
took
coming
a
out
while.
what this year, or like early next year, would have been a little bit closer perhaps, but that it was still like Animal Crossing brand brings the brand back a little bit, and then full game.
yeah, whatever you called it, you got it.
Yeah, that's right. I fucking call it else. Anyway, it's that one. It has a very similar. It's very taste of Animal Crossing, where you can go around and you can fish and you can like pick some fruits, and then they've got timers for how long it'll take the fruits to regrow, and then different villagers or different campers will all be like, "I'd like this," and so you have to try and get these. So you sort of like build up a collection. You're running around trying to get all the fruit, get all the fish, so that when someone asks you for all these things, you're like, yep, here you go. And then they're better friends with you, and then they're like, oh, I'm gonna move in, and it'll be great.
Right.
Who says
And,
you can't buy friendship?
That's pretty much all you do in Animal Crossing is buy their love. Whether they're like, you're like, here, have this.
My only problem with Animal Crossing is it always, from the way I play those games, it always turns into like an episode of Hoarders. Like my place gets so full of furniture and junk that I can't get rid of,
That's
and
what
I
it's
don't know
the
what to
basement
do
for, I
with.
think.
Yeah, it's just. But then I can't get around the basement. I've just got a little like path that snakes around. I'm like, this is a fire hazard. Like, I'm screwed.
Well, I think a lot of that stuff, like once you get it, it's easier to repurchase, something like that. Like you can get it out of a catalog.
That's right.
But the older versions, I don't think that was quite the case. But then there's also the sort of like unique things like the gyroids.
Yeah, and
those I'm like, well,
fucking gyroids.
Those, they're all staying together forever.
In my basement.
In the basement, where they'll just make an ungodly amount of noise. I don't know how anyone sleeps in the house.
Go listen to them scream underneath.
And you go, meow, talk.
That's funny.
But it's fun. But what I'm curious to see is what they're going to do with the Switch version, because they always try and, like with each new iteration of a game, they try and do like some new thing or some twist, right? Like 3DS, there were a couple of things. There was one, I think, little house tour town. The island that you could go to was really cool, and go and get your tropical beetles and stuff.
That was fun.
Take a boat out, whatever. That was real nice. So they do a couple of new things, and I'm really curious to see what it is they do this time.
Yeah.
I wonder if they'll have like a drop-in second player.
Yes.
Where you can have
PvP.
Yeah.
So when you said drop in, I pictured like 100 animals are dropped from a
into
balloon.
village.
They're going to share each other to death.
Animal Royale.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
awesome.
so I'm curious to see like what is this? Like what is it that they can do with the Switch that
Animal
they
Crossing
can't have
over,
done
sorry.
before? Local multiplayer and visitors is going to be a good one. You could do that with 3DS, like connect locally and then go to someone's town.
Right.
But drop in second player, I think would be really good. I think like local visiting would be really cool.
What about like an online like bazaar or like area where you could all go and trade your goods, like a trading center, like a trading post online or something?
Yeah, that'd be
That'd
cool.
be fun.
Yeah.
Like go and see like what wacky furniture is on sale from all these different people.
Nintendo does a good job with these franchises too, of when you play one of the new ones, it's like, oh, this is the Animal Crossing I remember, even though it's not, it's better. Like the graphics are better than the one you remember. But yeah, offering
Like what I remember, but somehow fresh.
Right. But yeah, they always seem to do like little quality of life tweaks and new features that's like, oh, this is just a little bit better. And
Also, real excited, just on a related note, like sort of like weird, cartoony, charming games. Katamari Damacy.
Yep.
oh yeah.
Oh, that's
I
right.
said it. I was like, with the king with the the bulge. Katamari Damacy coming to
Reroll.
Switch. It's gonna be great, right? I'm excited about that. I don't know the details of that one because that's where I was like, I have a
Looks like a remake.
specific amount of attention that I can give to this because it's all sort of happening as I'm leaving, and Animal Crossing is getting my attention.
Right.
Sorry, absolutely everything else. So remake or like remaster?
It looks like
It's a remaster.
Remaster?
Yeah, because it's
Okay.
called Reroll, and like it looked exactly like the game
It's
we know.
playable as a demo at the Tokyo Game Show right now. It's a remaster. Apparently, it plays a lot like the original Katamari Damacy.
Cool.
That game was so much fun, and I feel like the Switch is, again, a great place for it.
Yeah, look at him just getting it.
With the thing.
King
and the
is so
thing.
weird.
Remember, kids, how we make stars is just gather up trash and throw it into
I've
space.
never played this. It looks.
You never played Katamari Damacy?
No,
Yeah, so you're making what, stars, right?
Yes. So essentially,
Like all the stars, like something happened, all the stars are gone out of the sky,
I can't remember if it was the kid who did it. Like somebody fucked up.
and the king is like, shit, we need new stars. So you need to go, here's your little Katamari, and you need to like roll things up. But it starts out very, very small, so you can only roll up little things like, in this you can see little tiny things like nails or whatever. And then,
But then as the ball builds,
and then eventually you're like, I've just Katamari'd up a whale,
And then you get people?
and a skyscraper.
Yeah.
And like, so it goes from like really tiny to just, you almost don't notice it. It just like everything starts,
Right.
you roll up bigger and bigger and bigger stuff. And then, you're rolling up people and like animals and cars. And then
To
you're rolling
shoot
up
them into
buildings.
space.
and then King of the Universe
launch
comes
it.
down. Yeah, and he's just like, all right, thanks for that. That'll fill in a star, and then hucks it, and you do it again.
Yeah, it's
And
weird.
then you hear their scream.
Super
Yeah,
weird.
exactly.
But it's,
Not in
it's
space.
No, that's
super
right.
weird, and it's really fun, and it's
That's
charming,
cool.
and it seems like it'd be a good thing for Switch as well. A good kind of thing where you can pick it up and like play and like roll it around for a bit, and then there's time trials too, right? Like there's time limits on
Yeah,
like,
you wanna
how
try
long
and-
you have
yeah,
to
you try and beat your
get
own.
it
Okay,
big enough.
so that's the
So like beat 'em and then like do one and then like okay, and then
grades
put it
you,
down
I think.
again.
Yeah, it's been a while since I played Katamari Damacy.
Yeah. So they talked about new Smash stuff besides Isabelle, right?
You know,
what
I had to walk out of the Nintendo. We were watching it at work, and then I had to go do something like pick up my kid, and I haven't.
Were you
gone
like,
back to check
fuck
into
this?
it.
You're like, Isabel, ugh, and then you like just noped out.
I thought that was it. I don't think they
Was that
talked
it?
about
Okay.
anything else from Smash Band. Did they do anything
I
else?
don't think they talked about anything else. They
remember.
just
Okay, so
announced Isabella.
it really was just a full-on troll fake out. Got it.
Everybody's still like, we're still gonna get Skull Kid. Everybody's still pretty convinced. Have you heard
Still
about
sure?
this? Like, people have like, they're like doing the like strings on the corkboard conspiracy, connecting the dots on why Skull Kid will be in Smash. So we'll see what happens. That'd be a fun character though.
Do they have anything left like they can add for DLC stuff? Like, what are they going to do? What are they going to do like later on? Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I think everyone would be stoked if they took some of the characters that are trophies and then actually made them characters like Shovel Knight, like Waluigi, things like that. But
What if they just have like a whole like Waluigi themed event?
I'm sure the internet would lose their mind. It would be great. The thing is like everyone's like, oh, what character are you hoping for in it? And I'm like, I'm a DDD main, like one of the few. So like, I'm just gonna play DDD. There's something so much fun about like this just hefty penguin with a hammer kicking some ass. Like it's such a fun character to play. So.
I like Ness from Earthbound.
Yeah, he's like one of DDD's hardest counters.
Yeah, he's just got a
hate that
bat. I don't know. Also, like it's the only time they acknowledge Earthbound besides just sort of re-releasing the old one. So I like it.
It's pretty safe to assume we're going to get DLC characters. Because if you look at the Wii U sales, and Nintendo is still like, we definitely should make DLC for Smash on Wii U, they're probably going to do that for Switch because it'll sell billions.
Yeah, there's probably still characters in Fire Emblem that haven't made it in yet.
Right.
And they'll do like 3 of those.
It's a lot of characters.
Yeah.
But then, so Nintendo Switch Online is also now out. There's some cool things happening with, you can now have your account on multiple Switches. And that one, I found the way they're doing that quite interesting. So you have your primary Switch, and anyone who plays on that Switch can play the games that you have in your library. So that's my primary Switch. I've downloaded a ton of things, but Brian, you can have an account on that and you can play any of my games.
Nice.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and then also they have the family plan, which is great because the second that was announced, Nick texted all of us, and so we have like the Screw Attack family. So Nick's our dad, and it cost me $5
Oh, that's cool.
Switch Online for a year. So,
But then there's limitations. Like someone could troll with limitations on what you can and can't buy and how much time you can spend on it.
Yes, and that is one thing I did want to bring up. And so, like, only do that with people that you know and trust, because the person who is like patriarch or matriarch of the family, like, they have full control of everything.
They're the admin.
They can set restrictions, but also once your account's associated with that, the only way it cannot be associated with that is if that person in charge allows it to be. So if you sign up, like there's a bunch of people that are like, hey, random strangers on the internet, let's get together and we'll all share it and we'll get it for cheap. But whoever that person is, like they could literally take all of their Nintendo accounts. Like they could restrict them in all these different ways.
Oh, no.
Oh yeah. So like, don't do it unless it's with somebody you like know and trust.
Right.
Okay.
Like,
Someone who you can,
I can go to his house.
Someone you can confront in real life.
Yeah, exactly.
If they, take your privileges away.
All right, so here's how the non-primary consoles work. So a Nintendo account can be linked for Switch consoles that are not their primary console.
Sure.
But when you're using a non-primary console, you can use your Nintendo account to access the eShop and purchase and download stuff. But you do have to have an active internet connection to play stuff, so there is that check-in. And if you lose it, then it basically turns on a timer that's like, you're gonna lose access to this in a certain period of time. Which I think PlayStation does that as well. If it can't, it's like, oh, I can't verify license, and this isn't your main, this isn't the main console, so you're gonna luse access in like 15 minutes or something.
360 did that.
And then when you're using a non-primary console, downloadable content can only be started by the user that purchased the content. So I can get on your Switch and I can download, Okami and play it, but only I can play it.
Yeah.
So my question is, I have an online, just a single, $20 a year membership. Can the other user IDs on can the other users of that Switch, can they play online?
Yes, okay, the first Switch is your primary one. When using the primary console, any user account on the console can play the downloadable content you've purchased.
Okay. All right.
And you don't have to have an active internet connection to play the downloadable software.
Okay.
Unless you are trying to use online features.
Okay.
And then the last thing, with using or with accessing content on a non-primary console, is if your Nintendo account is used to access downloadable software on any other Switch, it'll pause whatever Switch you're on. It'll be like, oh, you access, and it doesn't have to be the game, it's just any content.
Okay.
So if basically you log in on another Switch, it'll log you off, pause on the other Switch.
Okay.
So it's just sort of like this weird tag team, but it seems like overall it'll probably work out for the most part. The only concern, the only potential concern being that because it is Nintendo, and it's kind of an on-the-go console, that this solution really only works in a sort of at-home Wi-Fi guaranteed setting.
Mm-hmm. Somebody's gonna find a way around it. I'm telling you now. There's gonna be download this software,
I'm sure.
run this thing, and now suddenly it'll never find the other main console.
Well, people already figured that out with the NES games for the Switch.
They've already hacked the online and put a bunch of ROMs on the.
Yeah, because I guess they're basically, it's just emulator, and it grabs them, and people are already putting whatever other Nintendo games they want sort of in there.
Gotcha.
I like the emulator's been fun. I've been playing Super Mario 3 for the millionth time, and Double Dragon, and I love those games, so I'm always happy. I mean, I've played them a million times, but it'll be cool. They've added some new pro wrestling, very old school.
Yeah, pro wrestling is great, man.
It's I haven't played this in 30 odd years.
Pink Ninja Dude was always my
the dude with the star on his face.
Or the big swamp monster.
Yes. So it's I don't know. I'll be interested to see what they add over. Hopefully they'll add Super Nintendo games too. Get on that.
Yeah, I feel like that'll come later on, kind of the way they did with. They're like, here's the NES Classic and here's the SNES Classic. But at first they didn't promise to make an SNES one, but NES did great. They know there's demand. They know that they've got a really strong library there, and they'll just try and put this in. But I imagine that at this point they're panicking about their console security, being like, well, we don't know how to keep people. This is supposed to be part of the online perks, and we're supposed to be in control of the library.
You.
They're we recently found out about the internet, and we don't know that much about it. So
we certainly don't know how to secure our systems at all.
Yeah, to some degree, that's what it feels like. But we know they're kind of playing catch up. That the online thing has never been their strong suit. So I don't think this will be the last sort of stumbling.
No, I'm sure they'll patch it or whatever. Yeah, but the way the game, I mean, you hit your lower L and R buttons, you can pause it, you can create in a save file, or it kind of pulls up the main menu. It's fun. I don't know. It's a nice, even for $20 a year. I mean, these games you've played them a million times, but it was a nice little perk.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if the way they're implementing cloud saves and ruling some games out because they're I don't know, you can use them to cheat or something. If that doesn't give you enough indication that they're still figuring out online, I don't know what would. That's still just mind-boggling.
I feel like Nintendo as a company still uses an AOL email address.
Oh yeah.
Total. They're that parent.
It's always so weird when you come across that. I now when I hear it, they're like, yes, at AOL, and I'm like, really?
What?
Yeah.
I forced my mom to stop.
My dad too. Yeah. You've got to stop using dial-up, Dad.
This can't just keep going.
Yeah, he's like, I never can watch the videos you send me.
There was one minor Smash Bros. Thing that we forgot about. They announced the hardware bundle for the Switch stuff.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and then I was like, I would have bought that if I didn't already have a Switch. Oh well.
Yeah, but it'll be good for the new people that have been holding off. They're when Smash comes out, then I'll get a Switch.
Yep.
What's your opinion on people who wait for games to come out before buying hardware?
It just depends. I mean, I've done it.
Besides that, you're the worst. Just kidding. Everyone has. They're wait for a selling point. I kind of like being an early adopter.
I've been
because I'm this console is this game is gonna come out, and at that point I can have that, but I can already have had these other smaller things that even if they weren't individually system sellers, I know Animal Crossing is gonna come out. I know this is gonna come out, so
but
I can
bundles
get
incentivize
it.
you to wait.
That's true.
So
they do.
Like,
I know John waited for
Spider-Man. Yeah, to get the.
So I usually wait to buy a console until there's a game that interests me. You know what I mean? Like I don't need to buy the.
Do you wait for it to come out, or do you wait for it to be announced?
It depends on the situation. If there's like something that's like mildly interesting, and then I get the game announced that I really want to play, then I'll be like, okay, cool.
That's
then
what
I'll buy
I
it
did.
and I'll play the mildly interesting one, and then I'll do that, right? Because like since I've been gaming for so long, and I know that launch consoles are usually like, you got a good shot that there's going to be some problem with a launch console, right? So
There's not going to be much to play on it.
Yeah, not much to play. And so now I'm just like, I'm hesitant to buy the first wave. I just kind of, unless it's like, some just incredible game coming right out with launch, and then I'm like, all right, let's do it. But like PS4 I bought with Destiny, to get the Destiny bundle, and then like, I got burned on 360, and mine Red Ring, like, there's no tomorrow, so eventually I got a Halo edition. Halo 3 edition, yeah. I'm trying to think. My Dreamcast was broken when I first got it.
That was the greenish one with the gold disc
Yes.
drive, right? Yeah.
It was like a bronzy disc tray.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but I'm trying to think of like how many consoles I've had that like broke because they were like Gen 1. So like I originally got the black sports Dreamcast. Right, that was limited edition.
Holy crap!
That had disc read errors, so when I went to go return that, I couldn't get it. So then I got the white one. So Dreamcast, 360, PSP.
You had a PSP die?
I had they had a bunch of problems with dead and stuck pixels.
Yeah. No, I do remember the stuck pixels. That sucked.
Yeah.
Also,
and
like,
the Xbox One that console is garbage. Like the launch console, Xbox One, like its loading
Before the
times
S,
are
yeah.
abysmal. Like it's just, and like it feels so clunky to navigate through that thing. Like the X is much better.
It also, now they come out with slim ones. They've like perfected. The Switch is the first launch console I bought in a while because I waited on the PS4. Even going back to like the original PlayStation, I remember waiting, and then Final Fantasy VII came out. It's like, okay, I've got to get this.
I will say Nintendo, I feel, is like the exception to the rule. Like Nintendo always puts out a solid piece of hardware. Like I can't remember the last time they had launch problems with some.
I don't think
They tend to be pretty reliable.
Yeah.
They'll usually just streamline. There was like the Fat DS, remember, at the beginning?
Oh, yeah.
And then they
My God, yeah, I had that, the big silver one.
Yes.
I worked at Game Exchange at the
brick.
time. So many people came in and like, they broke the screen, or maybe it was Blockbuster. Whatever.
Oh, they like snapped the hinges.
Yeah, the kids would break that thing off all the time.
Yeah, I don't know. I might be like, I'm very, when it comes to consoles and hardware, like it's very first world problems for me, because I will typically buy launch hardware just as a habit. Because I'm like, I'm gonna get the hardware, and then then games will come, and I'll have it and everything, and then they will announce a revision. I'll be like, well, I guess I'm getting that now as well, and I do end up with like stacks of revisions of hardware.
Like the 3DS. I was that way about the 3DS. Yeah.
I've now had 4 3DSs. I had the initial, like one of the initial like little jewel colored ones. It was turquoise. It was
The
beautiful.
shiny ones.
And then I had a red 3DS XL, and then I had a
New 3DS, right?
no. Then I got the Animal Crossing 3DS XL, and then I got the new 3DS XL.
Got it.
So I've gone through 4 of those.
You didn't get a 2DS?
I got the 2DS. It's good.
Okay.
I like it.
It just looks so weird.
It's just a little thinner. It's like just a little. It feels like a little more portable.
It's great for kids though. Like especially like when I saw that, I was like, oh, finally, good. That's smart. They got rid of the hinge. I'm telling you, kids.
The door. Oh yeah, that doorstop one. It's perfect.
No, the
for
doorstop
kids.
one.
They can drop it, throw it, like do kid shit too, because they're animals. They like.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like you look at that and go, "Meh," but then it made a lot of sense.
Yeah. No, I need to be able to hold it, drop it onto a floor, and it still works. And that's what Nintendo consoles are great for. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got online already?
Yep.
I haven't got it yet, but I probably will, if for nothing else, just so that I can back up some of my saves.
Right.
And also so that I can play Splatoon 2 online. Although apparently the population in the game has dropped significantly.
I played Mario Kart.
It went paid.
Yeah, I played Mario Kart 8 a little bit on the online. It seemed fun.
I did as well, but that was when we sort of were all playing it together.
Right.
It's a lot of fun to play with friends. I don't enjoy Mario Kart as much with just randoms. So,
fun.
I like having the, personal vendettas. I like them to be properly personal.
When you get red shelled 3 times in a row, you can you know who did it.
Yeah, but like Splatoon 2, I'm like, it's fine. I can play with randoms and it's a good time. And then if I see the same names pop up, I'll be like, oh shit, this guy, he's pretty good.
Right.
And over time, but I feel less like I need to know everyone. Although if I could get everyone on my team to be people I know, that would be really fun.
I like playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe online because just worldwide, because then you're playing, you see everybody's flags, and so when I come in first, I feel like I did something for America. Like I got us back on top.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done. But then transition. Nintendo isn't the only console that's now bringing back the sort of classic games. First they did the NES Classic, the SNES Classic. Now they're doing the NES games as part of their online service. Well, Sony's decided to get in on it.
I don't know why you're talking about this jet lag. That was flawless.
Yes,
Great
flawless. They have just announced PlayStation Classic. All right, so this is a weird one for me. On the one hand, I'm very excited about it. On the other hand, I'm like, classic. Like I feel like they could have been a little bit more creative with their branding.
What, like PlayStation 1? Remember that?
I do. And remember there was also the PlayStation 2. When they made the PlayStation Slim, it was written out 2 instead of the number 2.
Oh yeah. That's right.
The
Twoo.
It's even got memory card slots in there.
I know.
Yeah, which is great. I like that they're doing it. I like that they're, I think it's fun for people who like collecting the cute little hardwares. I'm one of those. I like having them and all that. I think it's cool that they're doing it, but by calling it classic, which is the exact line that they use for the NES Classic and the SNES Classic,
You took the name.
It makes it feel like, one, none of them are official, almost like they're like some third-party line of
like those mall
classic baby
kiosks that
consoles.
sell you the controller that is full of like the janky emulators or whatever.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Mad Cats.
Right. Or two, that it makes it feel like a lazier attempt at getting in on this trend than it is. Like,
Or they're just self-aware and like, we're not even gonna try it. Yep, it worked really well for Nintendo, so we're doing it too.
Yeah, it's just they could have made a unique brand out of it, but now it sounds like a Me Too. Here's the thing.
The Sony
let's
Mini?
Be clear. Let's be clear. It is a Me Too, but it could have felt like a better Me Too in terms of overall branding.
They also tried to
PlayStation old. Sorry.
Even in the announcement, they say like almost 25 years ago. It's not even close to 25 years ago. It's 25 years ago as of 2019 next year, like a year and a half from now. It feels like maybe they should have worked more on backwards compatibility. I don't know. Like I can fire up my Xbox and play old school Xbox games. And I feel like Sony was like really resistant to that. And there was that quote from Jim Ryan. He was like, "Oh, I tried to play some of those Gran Turismo games. They look terrible." That was just like last year. And now they're like, you know what? We do like them. We are going to repackage it. I think it's a good idea. I wish there were more games though.
Okay, so what they have is it's going to be coming with 20 games. So Final Fantasy VII, Tekken 3, Wild Arms, where we go? Jumping Flash, Ridge Racer, Type 4. I'm trying to see the
Tekken 3.
Dude, I wonder if that's gonna plummet the price on Wild Arms. That was one that's pretty sought after, if I remember.
It's a good choice. I also have a
They haven't announced the full lineup.
No, they just announced 5 games.
Just a couple.
I also have a theory with these old 3D games. I feel like they hold up worse than 8-bit or 16-bit games.
It's the one thing that makes me worry about, like, on the one hand would be like, a Nintendo 64 Classic would be so cool. On the other hand, I'm like, oh, but that's when they started going 3D and...
But they still, there's that for some games, but like, I still play 64 games. Like,
that's cool.
64 is like one of my favorite consoles of all time. So like, Bomberman still totally holds up. GoldenEye's a little, it's the shooters because you don't have the dual analog
modern,
stick. So like, that's a little wonky, but there's still a lot of great games. Like you're not like you wouldn't play Mario 64 for endless hours, right? You still have these fun games like Snowboard Kids, and whatever that you can absolutely have fun with. It doesn't really. I don't know, something about the Nintendo versions didn't really mess with me. But yeah, like the really Probably just because so many of them were more cartoony. You know, whereas PlayStation was going for like more realistic skins over the polygons, right?
You know, they were pushing the technological limits of the time.
Right. And when you do that, it doesn't age as well.
Well, you remember I remember seeing like all the Final Fantasies when the Final Fantasy VII remake hype was like coming in, you know, like, and then you just take a look and you just see Cloud, the original Cloud, and you're just like, Jesus.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like,
oh, this is something my kid drew.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. It's awesome, but yeah, I think that's the problem when you're cutting edge, whereas, yeah, Nintendo always went for the cartoony aesthetic, and so I think that. Plus, just people are making new pixelated, that pixel style is like very much back in fashion, so I think they hold up. It'll be interesting to see how they re-release them, if they're, you know, if they do anything for the visuals, I don't know.
I want to see like a kid, like a tween, or like, you know, like give a kid that console and see what they do. They would probably just be like, this is garbage. You know, like, that would be really interesting to see what their reaction to the PlayStation Classic would be.
Yeah, so it's gonna be $100 US. That is, it comes out December 3rd, and it's gonna have. So in addition to those 5 games, it'll be 20 total, but we don't know what the final lineup is gonna be. I like that it's coming. I think it'll be really fun to have. It's a great collectible, and I think that for people who have the nostalgia, it'll be really, really great to be able to go back and play those games with. You know, it was one of the things that one of the things that made it really nice for the NES and the SNES was that yes, the inputs that those consoles required no longer exist. So you have to go through like all these different adapters to just get it to show up, and they weren't made for the resolution, so it just doesn't look quite as crisp. And then you get these, and they are made for the resolution, they're made for the inputs, so it's a much more sort of humane adaptation of the classic games. So we'll see. I'm sure that Sony will nail it with the PlayStation 1 as well. And it's gonna be, like, the box and everything looks really cool.
Yes.
So I'm excited to have all of that and to be able to, for, you know, people who have that nostalgia, revisit some of those games that were really formative at the time.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if it's like your first Final Fantasy,
right.
There's just something that is really nice to be able to go back and play those, even if they haven't necessarily aged great. Yeah. Just to be able to, you know, revisit your childhood, revisit those games that you love so much. I think that making that easily available is really, really great. I don't worry about the backwards compatibility being like, oh, that's shitty as much, just because, I mean, if I was gonna document for that, I'd have to dock Nintendo for that as well.
True.
But that didn't really, bother me. You can document if you like.
I feel like this would be something fun to break out at parties, when you're all like a couple drinks into the evening, and then you come out and you're like, guess what I got? And then everybody's like, oh shit, let's play
Star Wars Masters of Terrakasi. Right. Sorry, no one's gonna do that.
Let's all play Tekken or something. Yeah, Parappa would be great. So I think it would be fun. I don't know. I think it's a little. I wonder if that $100 is a cutoff to some people, because the NES was 60 and the SNES was 80.
Well, and
all of them had more games.
The NES was $60 for 30 games, right? Was it 30? And then the SNES was what, $80 for 20 games?
That might be right.
And then so this is sort of that escalating process.
Right.
So it's $100 for 20 games, which does put it at $5 a game for what are much older games, and that you start to explore the limits of nostalgia, because chances are not everyone cares about all 20 games.
How nostalgic are you?
But if you think about it, like, you pay $60 for a game today, so you're getting 20 games, the hardware and the controllers.
Oh yeah.
Like,
it'll sell. I'm sure it'll sell.
It'll sell fine.
Will it do as well as the Nintendos will be interesting. Also, it feels like, to me, Sony's going to have to make a lot of these are third-party games, so they'll have to, work out who can they license it from.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if it'll be as easy of a road as Nintendo had, where it's like, oh, we will put, the Marios, the Zeldas, all our sort of first-party lineup on there. So I think that lineup of games will be very interesting, and I think that'll be the decider for.
Yeah, the only really, really popular old Nintendo game that licensing has just really screwed them is GoldenEye.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, but then there also a lot of the like old Rare stuff
Yeah.
as well.
Yep.
Microsoft bought 'em. That's why.
Yeah.
Just get another Conker's Bad Fur Day. That's all I want.
That's why I bought the Xbox One, was for the Rare replay.
Yeah.
Like I thought, and it's such a great collection. But yeah, it's because it's now Microsoft.
But other games that I think that they could do well dropping in there that are highly requested, obviously Gran Turismo, even though they were like, oh, it looks terrible, would still be a really good game to have on there. Metal Gear Solid would be a good one. And also Konami is basically all about licensing now, so that seems
They can work
like
it out.
pretty decent fit. Chrono Cross,
Oh, Chrono Cross would be cool.
Yes, great choice.
Xenogears.
Yep.
Man, there's a lot. Suikoden.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of just.
That was an RPG machine back in the day.
It was.
Golly, they had so much stuff.
This is really going to affect, depending on what they announce, like a lot of those classic RPGs.
Could bring the
like,
franchises back.
It could bring the franchise back,
Or
but I
like,
was thinking more like
re-energize the fan base.
they're collector's items. Like a lot of those games are worth a lot.
Oh, you
of money.
think they'll-
So I'm really
think they'll-
wondering.
like the dot hack games and stuff
Yeah,
that
yeah.
goes out on.
Do you think they'll lower the value for a lot of collectors?
Probably. If it's going to be out, because that's the thing, is like a lot of people want to play these games. It's the only way they can go get it
Yeah.
is to actually track down one of their copies.
It does kind of illustrate, how hard some of these old games are to find. If you don't have the original hardware and it's just super old at this point, it's a shame that, I know that that's the argument for a lot of ROMs, but it is kind of a bummer that this is, you're kind of at the mercy now of these re-releases, to play these old games. I don't know.
Yeah. So we'll see how this ends up going. I like the concept. PlayStation, if you're listening, you're probably not. I do wish that you would come up with original branding for it, like an original name.
Oh, you wanted to come back and be like, just kidding.
You have a marketing issue with this.
I think that it creates an immediate misconception that either
The Play Again
it and the Nintendo ones are all third
Yes,
party,
yeah.
or that they didn't put enough effort in to make it seem
Right.
like an original concept.
I think branding completely fucked the Wii U. Calling it the Wii U was such
It made
a
everyone
huge
confused.
mistake.
They're like, how is this different from the Wii?
Right.
It confused the hell out of what made the Wii so successful, which was all of the moms and dads buying it for their kids. Like everyone got on with the Wii, but then it's like, Wii U, I have a Wii. Why do I need a U?
Right.
Or
That
they
was
thought it
the
was like
biggest
an
problem.
add-on
Yep.
for the Wii, and so they're like, well, we don't really need it.
I don't
We're
want
fine
this
with our Wii.
gamepad with it. I'm fine. Yeah.
So we'll see, but happy with the concept, not with the name.
I was throwing out a couple.
Yeah, I like it.
Play Again Station, I'm telling you, that's fun.
PlayStation 1.5.
And like the final big thing that I want to
PlayStation
talk
Wonder
about
Years.
is Rockstar announced Red Dead Online, which not a huge surprise, but there are some details there that I think there's a lot of potential for it. But also, hold on, let's talk about it.
Love that you just told yourself to hold on.
Yeah, it's like, hold on. I gotta rein it in for just a second. Okay, so Rockstar announced Red Dead Online. It's not coming on the disc when Red Dead Redemption 2 comes out. So Red Dead Redemption 2 is coming out end of October. Red Dead Online is going to come out sometime in November, and it seems like it's very much following the GTA Online formula in every way. This is GTA Online just with horses.
Congratulations, Achievement Hunter, on your next few years of content.
So on the one hand, I think it's really cool. Red Dead, I feel like the first Red Dead Redemption, they had online, and it seemed very much like a prototype for what then ended up developing into GTA Online. So this is kind of bringing it home that way, in that you would log on, you'd end up somewhere, you could ride around, and you could go do this activity, or you're like, oh, I'm gonna get in a shootout, or we're gonna go and we're gonna try and secure the quarry or whatever. And you could do these things and just end up with random people, whatever. We could sort of go around the world and participate in these online activities. But then it was rough. It was very not for the time period, I think, but if I were to go back to it now, I'd be like, oh, online mechanics have really changed and refined and polished over the years. So I'd probably be like, this doesn't quite hold up. But at the time, it was fine. It was a lot of fun too. It was a good way to play. Although I really sucked at shootouts, so it was the worst. And so now they're bringing it home with Red Dead Online.
I'm really interested to see what they're going to do from a customization standpoint, because that's one of the reasons they make so much money with GTA is they go ham with like all these different customizations and vehicles and outfits and whatever. And like I feel like being set in the West, like you're gonna be a little bit limited in terms of
how you can
vehicles.
trick out your horse.
Yeah, right. Like how is it gonna?
And your character.
You can get some sweet saddles.
Right, but how like. They're gonna, it's like, I just see it getting so absurd. Like, they're just gonna start putting armor on horses, and then they're gonna have, like, just skinned horses.
You can't go, like, over the top like you did in GTA.
Right, like,
GTA.
Where are they gonna stop it? Are they gonna keep it at, like, oh, no, we're gonna, only things that could be put on this horse would have existed in this time period, or are they gonna just say, F it, and you can dress your horse up like a clown?
No, they're like, no, motherfucker, you're gonna have a Pegasus and some, like, crazy shit.
A golden horse.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I don't know what they're gonna do from a customization standpoint. And seriously, that's why they made so much money in GTA. So
it is, and I mean with GTA, like one thing that they did, I think that was really good with GTA Online is they continued releasing like all that new content, just like new drops for the different themes, and they might still be able to do some of that stuff, but it does. You're right. It does seem a little bit more limited.
Yeah.
They've said we're going to use GTA Online as the model, and they talked a little bit more about we don't think GTA Online hit its stride really until the heists, but they're going to keep releasing content. Obviously for GTA Online, they say they're going to stagger it and sort of do GTA Online content, then Red Dead Online content, so people can switch back and forth if they want to.
I think they'll be fine from a gameplay perspective.
The customization,
like,
I think,
bank robbing and train robbing, like,
totally
all sorts
new
of
missions,
stuff.
new content, fighting with each other, cooperating, being able to form your own gang. I think that has a lot of potential, and you know,
shooting gallery you can do. Like there's gonna be a million things they can do from a gameplay perspective.
Can you build a fort,
really cool.
or I don't know, like some sort of like your own towns? I think there's there is potential, but. It is, how crazy do you want to get since it's set in the 19th century?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll be curious to see if
early
this is also going to replace DLC. I think like Red Dead Redemption, the zombie DLC,
Undead Nightmare was great.
Remains one of the best DLCs of all time.
Yep, totally.
And GTA 5, as we've seen, has had absolutely no story-based DLC because the profit for them is in the shark cards and putting the effort into content for GTA Online.
Right.
Which, from a business standpoint, like that makes sense. You'd be like, well, this is where people are spending their money, so let's devote our time to that area.
We made an open-ended game that can be played for years and years.
But it does indicate to me that we're probably not going to see much in the way of expanded content for the single player in Red Dead Redemption 2. Would love to be proved wrong.
Which that
but
sucks,
it seems like they'll put the resources into Red Dead Online instead, with doing, like events and like adding different types of mini games and sub games within the online.
And that's what they kind of said. They're like, GTA Online showed us how we can introduce narrative into these content updates. So it definitely, if that's the model, it does mean that maybe we're not going to get story DLC for Red Dead 2, which sucks because the story, I think, is a huge part of what made Red Dead so great, and it's going to be what makes this great. So I don't know. That'll be a bummer if they just focus on Red Dead Online.
I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
In
it'll be
terms of the
great.
mount thing, as long as if there's a mount where you can obtain Donkey Lady, I'm so in. Do you guys remember that?
No.
You never saw the Donkey Lady video? It was like the game Red Dead.
That was where the model.
Yeah, the models would swap skins at times, and so a donkey got skinned with a townswoman, and it was horrifying.
It is a true undead nightmare.
Yeah, there's a couple things. There's like a bird thing too. There's a couple.
Like a donkey human.
So imagine the donkey model, but it was textured with a human townswoman.
Oh no! Oh no! Yeah. This is some Full Metal Alchemist shit.
Yeah,
it was terrifying. But there were a lot of fun things.
Like so you rides her around. Oh, maybe it wasn't. Was it just that she had the properties of the donkey?
Yeah, like you ride her around.
I thought there was one. Maybe I'm thinking there's a different one that the skin thing happened. But yeah, you can just straight up ride her. And she makes donkey noise.
That's just how marriages worked back then.
You know what? One of my favorite
There's another one where it did the
little
same thing.
touches in Red Dead Redemption was that there was like an actual just side quest that you could encounter where you rock up and some girl is tied to train tracks.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
yes.
That's cool.
And I was,
Or there'd
like,
be a robber.
I was like, what the hell? And then, like rescue her.
Oh, what if you could be a villain?
Oh, well, I mean, they're going to need
like,
villains. They're going to
yeah.
need some heals, right?
Yeah, well, I just thought about that now. I was like, I thought, picture the guy twirling his mustache, tying the girl to the train tracks. But it's like, yeah, what if you could go in there and like, you could be the person who kidnaps town people,
Right.
and then other people can go
Right.
try and.
Or can you be law enforcement? Can you be
Right, yeah, sheriff.
That'll
or,
be fun.
All right, so I'm just reading. There was the details are still pretty sparse. Rockstar released their announcement being like, hey, it's going to come in November.
That's all we got. Yeah.
All right.
And then beyond that, they did do a Q&A with IGN, but the details are still very cagey. Just looking at one of the things that they asked about was like, aside from the obvious, which is things like the 21st century setting, vehicles, tech, etc. How would this be different from GTA Online? To see like, I was curious if they would start to talk about the limits of customization, and they really don't. They just say that one of the it's very broad, but where with GTA you're really like speeding through it or you're speeding over it. With Red Dead, you live in the world at all times.
You're
Does
galloping.
that make sense? Where
You're galloping
it takes
through
it's a slower experience where you like have a plane or a helicopter or something.
Right, yeah,
You might like
cruising.
zoom over across the world. Like you can still drive through the world, but even if you're driving, it's probably a lot faster than if you're on horseback.
Right.
So that
Yeah.
the world that they're building is going to take that into account. It'll be set up very differently. Man, I remember you played. How much Red Dead Redemption did you play?
Minimal.
Okay. It was one of those experiences for me that I got sucked into, and I enjoyed it so much. Like I rarely, if ever, fast traveled because I enjoyed even the process of traversing the entire world on horseback. The weather would change, the sun would set, stars would come out. And then a big storm, lightning storm would roll through, and then it's just raining on you. But then the whole world is being lit up with lightning, and then then sun comes up. Oh, and by the way, you got attacked by a mountain lion at some point, probably, because they're all over the place. And it's just like a really cool experience to just like get lost in for a little while. You just sit there and like your brain almost shuts off as you're just taking in the sights. And it was so nice. And I'm gonna be really curious to see sort of how that idea of like little towns and big open spaces can translate into an online experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, Red Dead was very more than GTA. I agree. It's so much more about the environment because of your travel. Yeah, because you were on a slower mode of transportation. So it was, the landscapes were beautiful, and it just felt like you interacted with it more.
It kind of makes me want to go back and like check out Red Dead Redemption's online. Is that even? I wonder. Is that even
Probably
still
not still
running?
going.
I don't know.
I haven't checked, but I like just to see like what they did,
Right.
Because I think looking at that and then where they've gone with GTA Online might give me a better experience of where they're going to go with this one. But God, it's been so long. I do keep wanting to go back and play Red Dead Redemption.
Will there still be flower gathering?
There you go.
That's all I did was gather fucking flowers.
Oh God!
This
Do you
big,
remember
tough guy.
that mission? Wasn't there a mission where you're collecting flowers for someone's sick wife, and then it turns out that sick wife has been dead for a
Yes,
long
and it was a
time?
psycho you were, or he was just like a grieving.
Yeah, it was just like like
Those were
had
two very different things, Brian.
It was like grieving, but he'd also had a mental break.
Oh, okay.
That like he legit thought that his wife was sick and the flowers would cheer her up, but she'd been dead a real long
Okay,
time.
I was like, that guy's wife died and he's sad about it. Psycho.
What a weirdo to have feelings. Remember, like one of the first like open world, for me, I remember leaving a town. This was when I first started playing it. There was just this guy like, oh my God, my life's so like he's ranting. He just blows his brains out.
Man.
Like I was like, holy shit, this is like that just happened. It was crazy.
Crazy. Oh, I'm sure the game will be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yep, I'm excited. For me, it's going to be primarily a single player experience anyway. I'll probably faff around it online a little bit, but I don't anticipate living there unless they do something like really, really amazing with it that pulls me in. GTA Online is not my thing, and that's fine. Maybe the shift in setting and tweaks in formula will pull me in. but we'll see. I think it's going to be mostly single player for me, which again makes me a little bit sad that we probably won't see a lot of expanded single player content. But I also don't know how the whole campaign will be set up, and it might be one of those things where like, maybe I don't really need or want more story stuff.
I got what I needed. Yeah.
To kind of loop all our topics together, so apparently Red Dead Redemption's online is still alive and well, mainly because of backwards compatibility with Xbox One.
Right, and they released that Xbox One X update to like up-res textures and stuff like that. And I'm actually
that's cool.
So I kind of want to go back and play it before Red Dead Redemption 2 comes out. We talked about this during RTX London a little bit. The concern being, one, there's a shit ton of games coming out already between now and then, like new games that I do need to spend some time with, and so it's like my time is limited. But also, would I then be like, got my Red Dead fix and
not
care less,
not want to play the new one?
Either be burned out or like run its course, and now I'm like not quite as into it. I do want to be all up in it,
Okay, I saw the intensity in your eyes.
So we'll see. I'm excited about the game, but the online, I still do have questions. I feel like they're being pretty vague for how soon it's coming out. But also optimistic because they did find a pretty good formula with GTA Online. Like there are a lot of people playing it, and the reason there are a lot of people playing it is because they're having a good time doing so.
Yep.
Yeah. And they made it clear in November, like, this is going to be a beta. Like, bear with us. We're going to
say that, like, this is going to be a whole process.
Yeah.
Let's develop together.
Don't be mad at us.
Right. All right. Well, let us know what you think of Red Dead Online, what you think of the PlayStation Classic and its branding.
Ooh, PlayStation.
And also what,
There we go.
See? Like, immediately you came up with like a cool, unique thing.
Hire this man.
Just saying. And also like what games you would like to see on, like what would make it worth it for you, like what PlayStation games you want to go back to with this new hardware. If you are getting Nintendo Switch Online, we'd like to know if you are, the benefits that you're getting out of it, or if you're not, what's the hold off? And also, how amazing is Animal Cross going to be in 2019, and what should they do to make it unique? So basically, lots of different things that you can comment about. So please let us know what you think. I love reading and seeing like what everyone's ideas and opinions are. And if you're a Rooster Teeth first member, remember you can watch New Game Plus, our first exclusive post show only on the website, where we will give you shameless compliments to thank you for being a first member. And also remember that we have a new show called Club that is first exclusive. So that's another benefit that you can get access to if you're a first member. We did our first game club in Doki Doki Literature Club, our first movie club in Stardust, our first book club is The Lies of Locke Lamora, one of my favorite fantasy books of all time. And next week we have our first tabletop club in Mansions of Madness, which is going to be a lot of fun as well. So make sure that you check all that out if you're a first member. If you're not a first member, you can get a 7-day free trial. Check out all the content, see if it's for you. And either way, hopefully we'll see you next week.